1 week from today, the San Diego City Council will once again vote on adopting new e-bike rules. The proposal would ban riders under the age of 12 from Class 1 and 2 e-bikes, which can hit up to 20 miles an hour. It would also bar passengers on bikes that are not built for two riders. Joining us now to talk more about the proposal is District 7 Councilmember Raul Campillo. Thanks for making time for us.
Of course, our pleasure.
You know, when did it become clear to you that this was an issue that the City Council was going to have to address?
Well, it became really clear to me when my constituents kept asking me to take action on this. First, it started with seniors who were walking down their sidewalks and kept getting brushed by some teenagers who were recklessly riding them through the neighborhood. And then I started hearing from parents around the parks in my district that they were seeing kids ride them recklessly and getting injured. And so my staff started working on this. But then when the Rady Children's Hospital report came out showing the exponential increase, hundreds of percent year over year from just a few years ago when there was zero injuries, traumatic injuries from e-bikes, that's when I knew we had to really step up and get this done quickly. And we've put a lot into the process, and we're a week away from actually implementing it.
People have used the term public health crisis for that. Do you think that's fair, or is that an overreaction to call it a public health crisis?
Well, I think it's actually the right way to put it. First, the County of San Diego said that through the Public Health Department. But when I hear from the nurses and the doctors associations, ER physicians who keep telling me that the amount of trauma they're having to deal with young people, with parents who didn't realize that what they were buying their kid, what they thought was going to be a fun and interesting way to get back to and from school, is actually sometimes leading to people's deaths and traumatic brain injuries. I think we should use that terminology because when you have a over 300% increase from 1 year to another in traumatic injuries, it is about public health and it's about safety, and that's why our policy is education first, to prevent those injuries.
Right, and so let's talk about the ordinance. Like, can you tell us some of the main points of it for people that you think make it different from other cities?
Well, what we have is a toolbox given to us by the state legislature. So it's a pilot program in the city of San Diego. We're gonna run it for 3-4 years and collect data. And what it allows us to do is say to our youngest, most vulnerable riders, under 11 years old and younger, that we're going to prohibit them from riding e-bikes, and we're gonna prohibit riding e-bikes that don't have 2 seats. You can't have 2 riders on it if you don't have 2 seats. So we start with an education program, 30 days, public service announcements, social media ads, getting the message out there, working with the school district so that people know this. Then it's 60 days of warning from the police department. So if they catch someone in that next 60-day phrase, no tickets. And then after that, that's when the stick comes in, and that's where people are gonna get $25 fines. But they can get it waived from their record if they take a CHP certified free online course on e-bike safety.
So you're a teacher.
Yes.
And you taught in grade school. What would you have said to your students about this type of a law and the importance of being safe on those?
Well, I would tell people always wear a helmet, first and foremost. And if you fall and hit your helmet, you got to get a new helmet, always. The second thing I'd say is you have to use it responsibly, because this is a tool that your parents probably bought for you, expecting you to ride it responsibly. And so you got to follow the other traffic laws. A lot of people are saying, well, why didn't you set it at a higher age? 16-year-olds we're seeing using these recklessly. The state actually prohibited us through this pilot program from doing those higher ages, so we could collect the data first and then hopefully implement a more robust policy down the road. And the state legislature right now, thanks to Senator Catherine Blakespear, is putting in consumer protections so people know what they're buying. I know Assemblymember Tasha Burner, who led the fight for this pilot program, is already working on more. We're going to see more laws rolling out statewide, because we're seeing across the entire state, young people and seniors and everybody in between hurt by reckless e-bike riding.
Several cities in San Diego have enacted these policies recently. San Diego's a little behind the curve on that. That's kind of unfair. It's happening in the same time frame, roughly. But a lot of parents have pushed back. They think it's overbearing, heavy-handed. What would you say to them about what you're trying to accomplish here?
What I would say to them is, I think a lot of the parents who saw their children showing up to Rady Children's Hospital with broken collarbones and traumatic brain injuries thought the same way, and they thought this couldn't happen to my kid. But when you see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of young people showing up to ERs, we got to take steps to protect these young people. And we're going to lead with education first. That's the most important thing here. This is not a punitive program. It's a reasonable program. And ultimately, the things that are very, very dangerous, like e-motos that go up to 28 miles an hour and above, those things are already illegal for people to ride under current state law. We're trying to protect the most vulnerable. We're talking about 11, 10, 8, 9-year-olds who still haven't even hit adolescence yet and don't have the coordination that a teenager might have. We want people to ride these responsibly, and we're starting with education first.
So what does success look like for you in this program?
Well, success to me in this program is 0 tickets because no one's breaking the law. But I would say when we start to see a change in the culture around e-bikes, where we're not seeing packs of teenagers riding around and pulling wheelies in streets and cutting cars off so that there's less injuries, I want to see in the next few years the Nurses Association and the Hospital Association come back to us and say, look at the decrease in traumatic brain injuries, in traumatic ligament and limb injuries. That's success. People not being hurt, that's success.
Nothing about this is anti-e-bike.
Absolutely not.
This is about making it a better source of transportation for people in many ways, isn't it?
Absolutely it is, because what we're aiming at with the public safety announcements and the education program is using them safely. And in fact, what I'm hoping to see is a change in that younger group as they become teenagers, not riding them recklessly, following the rules, following the laws. That's what's going to change over time and lead to better public health outcomes. And you know what? If you still want to buy your kid an e-bike, well, when they're 12 years old, you can still get it for them. And that's why these new state laws that clarify and have new consumer protections in them are going to benefit on that end as well. I'm really excited for what e-bikes can provide to our communities. They're fun. They help with health. They are a way to get out in the community, go around bikes. They help people who want to exercise get that little extra push up their steep hills. We have a ton of steep hills and canyons in San Diego, but we need the youngest people in our community to be safer with them.
All right. District 7 Councilman Raul Campillo, thanks for making time to talk about this new ordinance that's going to go in effect probably 30 days after a week from today.
Yes, that's right. By the end of summer, this will be fully implemented with the whole system at the end of the summer.
And again, education first.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.